These are some amazing opening tricks and strategies of the Scotch Gambit, and if you know it well, you can win 90% of your games by sacrificing some of the pawns in the center. Now we are sacrificing a pawn. Black accepts this. This is the Scotch Gambit. We have to duel up the bishop, and we are not capturing this pawn. So if black says, okay, now I am going to prevent your capture the pawn in the center, we can offer another pawn, and black happily accept because this pawn is a weakness. Once you accept, we can sacrifice the bishop. This is the best move in this position. And if you accept the sacrifice, we can deliver a check. And once you go back, I don't need to capture this bishop because I can gain a tempo by delivering a check. And once you move the king, I can deliver another check and I can win this pawn. So position is really good and black king remains in the center of the board. If black king says, okay, I am not capturing this bishop and playing this king move, then we can duel up the knight, and if in the next move he goes for the capture, then nothing changes and this will remain the same because we don't have to worry about the bishop if this knight is not developed or this bishop is not getting back. So once you capture it in the next move, you go back and we can just capture here, and that's it. We have won the match completely and the king will remain in the center of the board, and you can just try to attack as early as possible. There are other varieties also. The second variation starts. Many of the opponent knows that bishop here is really a trap. So they sometimes play this bishop on e7, but still we can play the pawn push and that's it. If you accept the sacrifice, we have a very cunning move with this queen. Now we are threatening checkmate. And if you try to defend with this knight, this will not help. We can just eliminate, and if you try to recapture it, this is the checkmate. So you cannot do that, and after this the best move is to castle. And if your opponent doesn't know about the Scotch Gambit, then you can just bring this bishop back and that's it. After you go for this capture, we can just capture here and your position is really good. Both the bishops are developed and you are up a piece. But if your opponent are prepared for this, then you should go for this bishop capture and sacrifice your bishop because you have already won a free piece, and after this capture, develop the knight. That is the best continuation after this. But what is the problem that why we cannot bring this bishop back? If this capture happens, this is obviously good, but black has a wonderful idea after this bishop back. This knight is jumping here to attack the queen and also threatening some of the checks. So once you go back with the queen, or you can also play this queen here, both moves are possible. So once you go back, we have to push the pawn, attack the queen and attack the knight. So you cannot do anything. You have to move the queen. Once you capture here, rook captures, and in this position you can see black is simply up the pawn and having the bishop pair also, and position is really good. But many of my opponent resign the game after I bring this bishop back because they don't see any good continuation. So I used to play this opening when I was around 1600 on chess.com, so you can try it because it works around 1700 rating on chess.com, so you can always give a try. Let's see the other variation, but before that, if you are watching on Facebook, you are most welcome to click the link in the description and watch the full video on the YouTube, or you can take the subscriber badge by subscribing this Facebook page. Like my 3 subscribers are already enjoying the free content on Facebook, or if you want to enjoy it for free, then the video will be uploaded on the next day on Facebook. So let's continue the video. So after this, the second continuation is that after this knight can also come out. Then we can just castle. Okay, no. First we can just push the pawn, attack this knight, and many of the opponent fall for the trap and play this knight move, attacks this pawn twice. We don't have to worry, we just castle. And now if you try to accept the sacrifice, this is a mistake. We can just capture in the center. After capture, we can pin the knight and that's it. We have won the match. There is no way to defend this knight. Once you prevent by the pawn push, we can push the pawn and this knight is lost. So this was the another variation. We can also play some amazing moves with the black. So let's see after this, if you try to play this knight move, if we push it, this is the best continuation, and with the black pieces you have to find this wonderful idea of d5. Why this move is working, you will see. Now we, if we try to accept the sacrifice, this is a mistake. Why? Because after this capture you would see the pawn is hanging, so you might want to capture it, but black will have a check and you will have to defend with the queen. There is no other option. And after capture, bishop capture, and once you lift the rook into the game, after this castling, you can see black center pawn is really marching forward and they cannot be stopped. And once you go back, you cannot challenge this pawn in the center because the pawn can just march forward in the next move, and that's it. But we don't have to march forward, we have to keep attention to our central pawn, and you can even push this pawn to prevent your central pawn captures, and you will be winning in this position definitely. And engine gives almost around 3 -3 to black, so that is completely winning for black. But what is the high level theory? Let me talk about some theoretical ideas. How should we play if your opponent knows exactly the Scotch Gambit defense? This was the exact Scotch Gambit defense. So once you push this, we have to play this bishop move, attack this knight. You have to go for some theoretical lines. We capture here, bishop is coming here, or you can play any other move also. So once we capture here, capture with the bishop or capture with the pawn, that is also good, and we can just castle. Bishop is now coming into the game, and there is a lot of pressure. This knight is not going to move. Once you push the pawn, this knight in the center is going to be weak, but we can always defend it by c3, and the game continues. If we push the pawn, knight can jump here, go back, attack this knight twice. So this would be completely equal game, and you can start pushing the pawns in this king side, and the advantage is completely for both of them. So how was the video? If you enjoyed the video, you can click the subscribe button so that whenever I post any videos, the notification will reach to you, so that you can never miss any content related to opening traps, middle game strategies, and the end game tactics. So see you soon in my next video, but don't forget to click the bell icon so that whenever I post any videos, the notification reaches to you at the earliest. Thanks a lot.